In June 2022, the United States Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, ending the constitutional right to an abortion and shifting a woman's access to the procedure in the months that followed. As an increasing number of states ban the procedure, researchers shed light on what they say are some concerning consequences. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm T. Chappelle. The findings published in October 2024 show infant mortality increased in the wake of the High Court's decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization.
Reporter Heather Graff explores both sides of the debate and the tragic story of one mother caught in the middle.
We were all team girl.
It was supposed to be a routine 20-week scan.
And as they put the jelly on my belly, we're just talking and chatting.
Samantha Cassiano was expecting her 5th child, but she wasn't expecting this.
The room goes cold. And I knew something was wrong.
In December 2022, Samantha's unborn daughter was diagnosed with anencephaly, a fatal birth defect that occurs when a fetus's brain and skull don't fully develop.
Every morning I woke up and I knew my daughter was going to die.
6 months earlier, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, which had established a constitutional right to abortion for nearly 50 years.
When I asked, what are my options, I was told I didn't have any options.
After the ruling, numerous states introduced full or partial abortion bans, while they all have exceptions protecting the mother's life, including Texas, where Samantha lives. That wasn't a factor in her pregnancy.
And we found out that to be able to give our child compassion and mercy, we would have to go out of state, but that just wasn't there for us. It wasn't at our grasp financially. I had to plan a funeral while feeling my child move inside of me.
Baby Hala was born 2 months early on March 29, 2023.
She fought for 4 hours, and her father held her till she died.
According to a recent study in JAMA Pediatrics, Halo's story isn't unique. Researchers at The Ohio State University looked at national infant mortality trends in the year and a half following the Supreme Court's ruling. Using historical data as a comparison, they identified 3 months that jumped about 7% higher than average.
It's a very conservative estimate.
Lead author Parvati Singh says during each of those months, about 250 more babies died than expected. And according to the Centers for Disease Control, infant mortality had been on the decline for nearly 3 decades.
Anytime infant mortality goes up, it is a matter of national concern.
Deaths were highest among babies with congenital abnormalities, which has been a leading cause of infant mortality in the United States for decades.
Unfortunately, I was not surprised.
Dr. Erin Wanyoni, a Chicago OBGYN who wasn't involved with the study, says some of the increase could be attributed to babies being born that may have otherwise been terminated, given their short life expectancy.
If you're forced to continue a pregnancy, especially in a situation where we know it's incompatible with life, then yes, we're going to see higher rates of infant mortality.
But she believes it points to widespread impacts that extend beyond the child, particularly since infant and maternal health are so closely linked.
I think about the health of the mother and, the stress of a pregnancy and all the things that can happen during a pregnancy, whether it's mental health, whether it's, diabetes, high blood pressure.
Should the greater public be concerned as well?
The greater public should definitely be concerned because whether you realize it yet or not, these abortion bans affect all of us.
Abortion is health care, says Dr. Wanyoni, but not everyone agrees.
Do you believe these babies should be carried to term when they're incompatible with life?
Yes, I do. It is better that these children do carry out and live a natural life and die a natural death than be subject to an abortion.
Michael New, an assistant professor at the Catholic University of America, says he believes all human life is precious, and prenatal diagnoses are not always accurate.
pro-life laws are not causing an increase in congenital defects. What they're doing is they are preventing these children from being aborted.
In addition to the impacts from congenital abnormalities, Singh says she believes the increase in deaths could be linked to healthcare providers leaving states with restrictive abortion laws.
What that creates is reproductive care deserts.
Along with factors like access to health services and quality of life, the CDC says infant mortality is an important indicator of the overall health of a society.
If we are seeing this at the national level, then things could be much worse at the state level.
But according to New, that's a significant factor Singh's study fails to address. It doesn't provide evidence that infant mortality increased faster in states that enacted abortion laws.
It doesn't compare infant mortality in states that have strong pro-life laws to infant mortality rates in states with permissive abortion policies.
Singh acknowledges her work on its own has limitations, but the findings, she adds, have been supported by other academics in the field.
This pattern is consistent with observations from other studies where they did arrive at those conclusions.
And as the body of research surrounding abortion restrictions grows, she hopes informed policy making will grow with it. This still grieving mother says she's proof those decisions have real consequences.
There was no reason to force her to be here and go through such pain and agony.
On the most innocent among us and their families.
It was a traumatic memory that will never leave my mind, and I wish that for no mother or no baby to have to go through that.
OSU researcher Parvati Singh says her research was inspired by findings from an August 2024 study out of Johns Hopkins University. It showed a 13% increase in infant mortality in Texas following the adoption of a law there banning most abortions at around 6 weeks of pregnancy. The Texas Heartbeat Act took effect in 2021, a year before the more restrictive Dobbs decision. It provides no exceptions for fetal abnormalities.
And the fact that we saw deaths due to congenital anomalies increasing in both of those studies, I think is just another confirmation that that's probably one of the leading mechanisms as to why these abortion restrictions are leading to infant deaths.
Lead author Allison Gemmell released a follow-up study in February 2025 analyzing the Dobbs decision's potential impact on infant mortality in each state.
We definitely see a very pronounced increase in Texas and Kentucky.
Those states are among 12 today that have implemented total abortion bans, and most have some kind of restriction in place.
As for whether the increase in infant mortality will continue, Ohio State's expert says time and further research will shed light on whether it was an immediate response to the Supreme Court's ruling or the start of an ongoing trend.